to our today's class. Our today's class, we are covering principles of security, principles of network security, and we will discuss the various issues regarding network security, which are very important to those of us who are in networks and those of us who are in cybersecurity. So basically, these are the topics that we are supposed to cover, and I think I had given you some 30 minutes to be able to explore and to be able to discuss about the various network security issues. So one of the objectives is attacks and their tools, and here we shall discuss about the various tools which are normally used. So we will describe the evolution of network security, and then we'll also describe the various types of attack tools by threat actors. Threat actors are the guys who do the hacking. Then we'll discuss about the common threat and attacks. And here we'll discuss maybe the various types of threats and attacks. So maybe things to do with maybe the malware and other network attacks that happens in most of our networks. So well, let's start off with what to call attackers and their tools. So, and we start by asking ourselves, who is attacking our network? So I believe right now you understand that this particular season, whereby everybody is working at home, and maybe most of us, we are not able to go to office. So there are so many attacks which are happening. So to give you a brief overview of our discussion today, I think I've told you that there's a discussion going on the cybersecurity in Africa. There's a forum going on right now. Today in the morning, we had some guys from US and others from different countries who are discussing. And one of the issues that was brought up is that the level of attacks is increasing. So especially right now, we are working from home, and we are using various applications, and those applications, some of them are not free or are not they are not secure. And since those applications are not secure, so the attackers are taking advantage, and they're able to exploit our networks. So probably I'll be explaining as we move on. So on the various issues that we have they are being discussed today. So let's start off with the threats, vulnerabilities, and risk. And we said that the threat is just but a potential danger to assets, a potential danger to an asset such as data or network. So basically, a potential danger to an asset. Remember that an asset can be anything on your network, probably maybe your computer, maybe your devices on the network. So it's just a potential danger to those particular assets. Vulnerability and attack surface. So weakness in a system or its design that could be exploited by a threat. So there could be a weakness in a system. So probably you are using a very simple password, or maybe you are using maybe a site that people can easily be able to attack, or maybe be able to easily gain access. So especially maybe in case you are creating a website, and maybe after hosting, you are using maybe HTTP. So if you're using HTTP, if I use a very simple application like Wireshark, so it's very easy for me to see your password and username. So and be able even to log into your system. So then attack service describes the different points where an attack or an attacker could get into a system and could get to the data. So example is operating system without security patches. So that's the attack service. So and I believe you normally do the patching of your OS, especially like right now Windows 10. I think Windows 10 had people were reporting that there were some bugs, and Microsoft have been releasing the various patches. I hope you are using those patches, and I think all of us, we are supposed to be using Windows 10 and above, since Microsoft announced that they are not supporting the older versions like Windows 7, so they might not even be releasing new versions and patches for those operating systems. And especially if in case anybody using Windows XP, Windows XP is prone to attacks, so we should be very careful. And then the exploit is the mechanism used to now leverage a vulnerability to compromise an asset. So now exploit is now maybe now attacking a system now. So we can have remote whereby works over the network, or you can have local whereby the threat actors, remember the threat actors are the attackers, the has a user or administrative access to the end system. So basically, attacks could be remote, whereby you can remotely launch an attack to a particular system, or maybe somebody can launch an attack to your system and be able to exploit it. So we have the risk. Risk is likelihood of something happening. Like we can have maybe like a likelihood of an attack happening in your system. That's what we are calling risk. So we have the various who is okay, we are still on who is attacking our network, and we have hackers and threat actors. So hackers versus threat actors. So that's what we are differentiating. So we have the white hat hackers. So these are just but ethical hackers. And these guys, they use their programming skills for good, ethical, and for legal purposes. And these guys, they're just but guys who now do the testing whether their networks are maybe there are issues in their network or not. So we normally call them white hat hackers. So they perform penetration tests to discover vulnerabilities and report to developers before exploitation. So we normally call them white hat hackers. So the guys who do or who test whether the systems they are working, or maybe there are issues in their network. So basically, we normally call them white hat hackers. So then the gray hat hackers, these are guys who commit crimes and do unethical things, but but not for personal gain or to cause damage. And they compromise network and then disclose the problem to the organization so that the organization can fix them. So these are guys who normally try to hack systems, either maybe for personal gain. Somebody maybe want to get fame, or maybe somebody want to get something small from you. Since after discovering that your system has a maybe a particular weakness, so they inform you, and then from there you can take charge of your network and be able to fix the problem. So the black hat hackers, so these are the guys who do unethical hacking now. They are called they do unethical they do unethical hacking. We call them unethical criminals, and they violate security for personal gain and for malicious reasons, and they attack networks. And these are guys who are in what called dark web. For people who know what is dark web, so the guys who do the hacking. So and these guys, they do it for their personal gain. Somebody wants maybe money from you, or maybe somebody want to bring your whole network down, or maybe a competitor. Sometimes it can be a competitor who would like to bring the whole network down so that you do not compete with them. So we move on. An threat actor is the term used to describe the gray and black hat hackers. So they are the threat actors. They are now the gray and white hat hackers. So if we have the various evolution of threats in our networks, and we move on. So we have got evolution of threats actors, and one is the script kiddie. Script kiddie are guys who do not have experience, and they're just but guys who are trying to maybe try to hack a network. So they're just but guys who are running. We normally call them script kiddie. So they're just but inexperienced hackers running existing tools and exploits to cause harm by typically not for profit. So these are guys, as I've said, they do not have much experience in hacking. So we normally call them script kiddie. It can be anybody. It's not a kid. It can be anybody. And then we have the state sponsored. These are guys who are sponsored by the government, so that they can be able to gather intelligence. So like maybe remember what happened in US, whereby the US elections. So maybe the allegation that there was hacking that happened. So probably, so we could be having guys who are hired by the government to do the hacking. So I don't mean that there were some guys who were hired, but we normally have governments which normally sponsor people gather intelligence about other countries, and maybe others are terrorist groups. So some terrorist group, they do in the, they do surveillance. Like maybe you normally hear of guys maybe coming to Kenya, maybe maybe doing surveillance, and maybe you hear of an attack that happens. Probably they do what call surveillance. Probably it's somebody who has been sent by a terrorist group. So we have cyber criminals. So we remember we have said cyber criminals are the black hat hackers, and they steal a lot of money from consumers and businesses. And from today's cybersecurity forum, they were saying like maybe in 2017 we had several millions of money that was stolen from our local banks and maybe another financial institutions. And in Africa, we are not even ready to even take care of our networks and our systems. So we have got maybe very many black hat hackers who are able to gain access to our system and steal a lot of money. So the hack fist now, these are grey hat hackers who rally and protest against critical, or maybe they protest against maybe political and social. Okay, they protest against maybe political and social ideas. So these are guys. If you ever heard of what call WikiLeaks, so guys in WikiLeaks, whereby they get information about a particular country and then they expose that information. So it's normally a group of people who normally protest maybe against maybe a political system or maybe something, and then they expose that information to other people. And these guys, they go to exile. So if you have ever heard of guys who are going to exile and they live there for so long, it's because probably they have exposed information about the government, or they are protesting about something, and they keep on posting a lot of information about that government or that particular organization. So they are called hackfist. So it's like maybe these guys who do what we call they're on the street 24/7. Like maybe there's a guy called Mwangi, and there are so many others who protest via our social media. There are very many. Those are examples. Then vulnerability broker. So they discover exploit and report them to vendors, sometimes for prize or reward. So we have guys who do that. They are called vulnerability broker. So cyber criminals, a cyber criminal does not look like the guy we can see from here, from this screen. But basically this one is just but a photo to demonstrate how it's done. So basically, you'll never find a cyber criminal who look like this. So they are guys who are very smart, who are well dressed. Some of them are your friends. So they are the guys who do the hacking. So cyber criminals, one is money. They are motivated by motivated threat actors. So they are guys who are there to make money. So they buy, sell, and trade exploit and private information and intellectual property. So they can be able to buy anything. Like what happens is that recently, I think a few months ago, thousands and thousands of accounts for guys who have been using Zoom, they were stolen. And they were being sold. So if you want an account, several accounts, you can have those accounts, and then maybe you can try to exploit vulnerability using those particular accounts. So they do that. So they steal from consumers, small businesses, as well as large enterprises and industries. So I believe you have heard of the guys who have been doing the maybe very evil things. They steal from businesses, from maybe from our banks and from most of the financial institutions, for their own money or for their own reasons. So moving on, cybersecurity tasks. So one of the tasks that is supposed to be done is develop good cybersecurity awareness. Like we normally have awareness from Communication Authority of Kenya. So we have been attending a forum called it's called Fire Chats. It's called Fire Chat. It has been every month on Wednesdays. I think it was stopped after this COVID. So they were doing awareness on how maybe attack happens in the country and how we can be able to prevent maybe attacks in our homes, how we can even be able to prevent maybe small kids from attacks. So basically, there has been a lot of awareness that has been going on. And for the guys who follow maybe some of these agencies, they have been doing a lot of maybe awareness, and one of them is Communication Authority of Kenya. If you can just check their Twitter handle, so kindly follow them. You'll be able to see a lot of awareness they have been doing. So the other one is report cybercrimes to authorities. And here maybe some of you could be asking, where do I report? If I report to the police, probably police do not have enough intelligence. Maybe some of our police, maybe they do not have up to date technology. So what you do is you can report to CA, Communication Authority of Kenya. They have got a section that deals with crime, cyber crimes. Make sure that you remember that. So in your home or maybe in any organization that you work in future, so we normally report them to CK. So apart from that, apart from reporting, I will show you a site whereby you can be able to do the reporting. So I have some sites which I want to do a demo with them, maybe as we move on with the class, to show you how maybe you can do the reporting and how you can be able to maybe read about the various vulnerabilities that have happened around the world. So another one is be aware of potential threats in emails and web. I believe you know that you should be able to know how the threat happens in our emails and in our web. Maybe through the various tools and maybe using our own intelligence. You should also guard important information from theft. Then organization, they must make actions and protect their assets, users and customers. So for our case, like maybe for our university, we normally have some mechanism that we have put into place to ensure that the users of our networks, they are secure and everything that we are doing is secure. Another one is you can develop cybersecurity tasks and implement those tasks on a recurring basis. So you can develop maybe the various tasks to be implemented. Like maybe you can say like maybe in this quarter I will implement a firewall, because the firewall are very expensive. Then maybe next month you say I will also maybe introduce another maybe a prevention system in my network. So basically you can have various tasks that can be done, then break them down depending on maybe depending on how affordability is that particular service that you want to deploy in your network. So cyber threats indicators. One, you should be able to know that each attack has unique identifiable attribute that are known as cyber threat indicators or simply attack indicators. So basically, each attack has got its own way of maybe being identified. So you can identify each and every threat depending on what it's doing to your network and depending on maybe which kind of vulnerability it is causing to you, or maybe depending on which kind of attack it's causing to your network. And we have US Department of Homeland Security, that is DHS, and United States Computer Agency, Readiness Team, that is USSAT, use the automated indicator sharing system that enables sharing of verified attack indicators with public and private sectors organizations. So we normally have those particular agencies from the US, which are able to share the various kind of attacks which have happened in most of the networks, and they share with the public. So that you can be able to know which network was attacked and how you can be able to prevent that kind of an attack. So one of them is automated indicator sharing, so which they're able to do that. I think I had one. Probably I can show you one. I think so. Maybe I will share one. I will stop sharing. So then I share my my screen once more, so that we can see one of the. So I will check. I think there's somebody who has asked a question. So I'll get back. 1 minute. Okay. So we can confirm. I think my window is being shared. I think perfect. So this is one of the sites whereby you can be able to check the various vulnerabilities called CVE, Common Vulnerability and Exposures. So the various vulnerabilities that have happened in most of the networks. So this one is basically is based in US, called NVD. So which you can be able to search for various vulnerabilities. Like maybe probably I can check maybe for anything to do with what, like maybe I can check on what we call maybe probably is an SQL injection. So I had already searched for one. So and then from there you can be able to see the various attacks that happened. Like maybe these are the various attacks that happened. So you can read about them. Like maybe an SQL injection vulnerability was discovered in micro focus service management automation. So you can read about these cases. So which have been shared with members of the public, and you can see there are very many. There are very many. So these were maybe some of the cases that were reported. You can see how many there are. There are very many. There are very many. There are very many that were reported, and you can see. I have not, and this one I have just typed SQL injection. So somebody can exploit maybe vulnerability of a particular system by using SQL injection, or maybe you can have even so many others. Like maybe let me look for HTTP because I think I'm much more into networks. So like maybe HTTP attacks. So let's see whether we have got anything that is related to HTTP that was reported. You can see HTTP method, like maybe this one is one of the first cases. HTTP method revealed in web service vulnerability in micro focus service affecting version. So it affected those versions, and you can read much more on maybe some of the issues that were reported here. There are very many. There are very many. So this is one of the site where you can get some more information on maybe the attacks. So you can copy this. Probably this site you can go. Maybe I'll just copy it, and then 1 minute. I think I have okay. So I'll copy it for you so that you can go and check at your own free time, so that you are able to understand how things happen. So let me stop sharing so that I continue with my. So there is a party quiz asking, are anonymous an example of grey hat hackers? I wish to say no. Like a very good. Let me give you an example. I have another group. I am. Okay. They are just doing a basic course called ICDL. So and I shared a Google Sheets with them, and I shared over WhatsApp and made it open. So anybody who is logging to that particular Google Sheet is called anonymous. I am not able to know who is who, and they're able to put their details there. So we cannot use the word anonymous as an example of a grey hat hacker because it's used in different scenarios. So you can, I have just copied it there for you so that you can be able to go and read much more. So I think that one can enable you to be able to see the various shared information on cybersecurity. So introduction of attack tools. So there are very many tools which are normally used to exploit vulnerabilities. So we have sophistication of attack tools and technical knowledge to conduct attacks has changed since 1985. So the tools, as you can see from my diagram here, or maybe from my from my two diagram here, you can see the tools have really changed. So the tools have really changed to ensure that people are able to exploit vulnerability, and some of those tools are free. Probably I'll post some of the tools. I think for you guys who did not do the new curriculum for season A, we had a new season A3, which has got very many attacking tools. Probably I'll extract some of them and write to you, or maybe share with you so that you can be able to use some of those tools. But those tools are changing and they are sophisticated. And some of those tools you can get them for free. For those guys who want to be in cybersecurity, so you can research for those tools and be able to get them for free, and you can try to hack networks. I know some of you could be hacking you can be employed by an organization to be doing the testing, like maybe the white hat hackers, to be just doing the testing of a network. So that's why it's not evil. Hacking networks is not evil if you don't do it for malicious reasons. For you to be able to do to become a good white hat hacker, you must do what we call certified ethical hacking. Certified ethical hacking, it's offered by a body called EC Council. It's a very good certification that you can do. So evolution of security tools. So there are very many tools that have evolved. I think the tools I was to share with you, there are some here. They have not specified, but we have got the various penetration testing tools. So they have not given the specific tools, like maybe a password cracker. So they have not given a specific tools. I'll check and share with you later. So the password crackers, so these ones is you can use them to crack passwords. We have wireless hacking tools, network scanning and hacking tools, packet crafting tools. So these ones, they are just but tools that can enable you to maybe change maybe the header of a packet. We have the packet sniffers. Packet sniffers includes like the Wireshark. I think I used Wireshark last time, and I think you know how a Wireshark works. So it's one of the packet sniffing. So in case you do not know, in case you're not in my class to know how a Wireshark work, so I will use it. So maybe now also in our next class I will have some more tools which I'll be using, so that at least I teach you on how they are used. So we have the rootkit detector. So this one they are used to detect or they are normally installed on the directory. The directory is like maybe on drive C, and they check for the integrity of the files, and they are used by white hat hackers to detect for installed rootkits. So you can check maybe on your local disk or maybe on your devices to check whether there is maybe any kind of an attack on your drive. We have fuzzers. They attempt to discover a computer system security vulnerability. We have others which are used. They are called forensic tools. They sniff out any trace of evidence existing in a particular common system. So these are used by forensic experts, the guys who collect evidence, especially maybe there's an ongoing maybe case in court. We can have some guys who are collecting evidence in an electronic system. We have debugger tools, so they reverse engineer binary files when writing exploits or malware analysis. So they are just but tools we can be able to reverse engineer something. So to reverse engineer is to probably do the opposite of what that particular tool was intended to do. So we have hacking operating systems, and others are encrypting tools. I'll look for one. I think I had been using one, so that at least in my class, my next class, I can use one of these tools, like maybe an encrypting tool, to see how you can be able to encrypt your data. Vulnerability exploit tools. So we also have vulnerability scanners. So those are the various examples of penetration testing tools that you can use. Probably you can go check each example of each and every tool that you can use. So today I will still use Wireshark. So for the packet sniffers, so you can use Wireshark. For the guys who are using packet tracer, so you can draw a diagram and draw two routers, and then in between the routers you can have a sniffer. There's a tool called sniffer that you can be able to sniff packets, or maybe packets between two routers. But generally, since packet tracer does not generate packets, so you will just see the protocols which are in use, but you cannot be able to see a lot of any traffic, because packet tracer cannot generate traffic. So common categories of network attacks. So we have the following categories. Eavesdropping. I believe you know what is eavesdropping. The eavesdropping is just by listening to a communication channel and being able to tap what is in transit between devices. So this one, they capture and listen to network traffic. We have others which do data modification, which can be able to change maybe a packet and then maybe send the packet which has already been changed. So the IP address spoofing, so they're able to construct an IP packet that appears to originate from a valid address inside the corporate intranet. So these ones, they are normally used by an attack called man-in-the-middle attack. So whereby man-in-the-middle attack, so when the packet are sent maybe from device A to device B, so in between device A and B, so we can have an attack whereby the packets are changed, and then they appear to be originating from a particular source. So they're password based, so they uses the stored and valid account to obtain list of other users and network information. So this is a kind of another category of attack. Then denial of service, they prevent normal users of a computer or network by valid users. Like right now, we are filing tax, and by the way, you should file a zero tax for you guys. So right now, since you are accessing the KRA website, so we can have maybe somebody who is sending a lot of traffic to KRA site, such that the website goes down and is not able to respond to us. So we normally call it denial of service, whereby there are so many requests sent to the server until the server cannot be able to respond back. Compromise keys, these they gain access to a secured communication without the sender or receiver being aware of the attack by obtaining the secret key. So I believe you know that maybe in case you are using like maybe VPN. So when you're using VPN, there are normally some keys which are normally exchanged between the sender and the receiver. So electronically. So probably somebody can be able to gain access of that key and be able to log into a particular system without even being noticed. So we have Sniffer, which is normally an application or device that can be able to read, monitor, and capture network data exchanges and read network packet, especially the packet tracer. So you can use like a packet tracer to be able to sniff, maybe to be able to see what is in transit between two devices. So the only challenge of maybe the Wireshark can only be able to monitor your network, or maybe the devices in your network. It cannot be able to monitor devices outside your network. So common threats. So before we go to common threats, let me open my Wireshark since I've been mentioning about it. We see how it's since it might slow down my machine, let me do it at the end. Let me do any practical at the end, since it might slow down my machine, because there will be a lot of traffic. There's a lot of traffic that is being sent by my machine since I'm online. So types of malware, we said we have other types of attacks, and one of them is malware, and it's short for malicious software or malicious code. So I believe maybe these malicious code, like maybe somebody. I normally see most of you guys, and I think I'm in very many WhatsApp groups for students, and some of the students, they get maybe a particular code from another group. They just post that maybe click here to maybe gain something, or maybe click here to be able to do something. So they are code which are normally used to exploit vulnerabilities by guys, and they are shared online. So they are specifically designed to damage and disrupt, or even steal, or even inflict illegitimate action on a data host or network. So they are just but used to gain access of a system. Like maybe you can see from the diagram that we have got maybe like ransomware. I think we have a topic on ransomware. We have got maybe viruses, we have worms, we have rootkit, and so many others. So basically, we have got malware which uses particular code which are normally injected to a particular system to do something. And maybe some of this code, like I was running the other day, that I don't want to specify the country because this content will be posted online. So there was one country that there were hackers from a particular country, whereby they developed a particular malware. If you clicked on that particular malware, within 1 minute, so the malware was able to steal all relevant information in your machine and respond back to the system that requested those particular files. So these things, they happen. I'm also doing a course on what to call IoT. So whereby, remember, IoT is Internet of Things, whereby right now we are talking of a smart city, or maybe a smart home. A smart home is whereby a bulb that you have in the house is connected to your TV, is connected to your microwave, is connected to your PC, is connected to everything. So everything, they are interconnected. So an attacker can use your bulb, which you are maybe doing what to call you are controlling remotely, and can inject a particular code to your system to be able to manipulate how your system is working. So basically, attacks are happening in our system, and some of them are in form of malware, which can be injected via any of IoT device that we are using. So viruses, I believe all of us know how viruses works, and by now you know how to control viruses in your system. So, and viruses, they are propagated by various means. Like right now, I'm trying to help particular students to be able to maybe set up their machine to do an exam online. So they do some of these certifications online. So we are requested to get into their machine, and I'm using TeamViewer. So when I get to their system, I'm able to transfer files from my system to their system, or maybe from the student machine to my system. In the process, my machine can be infected by a virus, or I can even infect the student machine with the virus when I transfer the content on via the network. Or maybe you can maybe if you have USBs or any other device, so it can also transfer those viruses. And some viruses are dormant. They can just stay in the system, and then maybe a particular time they launch themselves. And that's why maybe you find your system has been working and it's okay, but you wake up and find your system is not working. So I think on viruses, you know much more about them. So we have some of the malwares which are called Trojan horse. So it's not a horse like what you can see. So you can see this one is a horse. A Trojan horse is not a horse, but is kind of an attack. So it's normally a malicious code that is designed to look like legitimate. So you think that maybe particular maybe content that you are trying to access is legitimate, but it's not legitimate. And they are majorly attached on online games. For those guys who like games, I know most of you right now, you are not that busy. I know you are doing so much and a lot of research, and probably you are maybe you're playing online games, or maybe sometimes you are downloading softwares. Like most of us who like downloading softwares from some of these sites which have got illegal softwares, like maybe the Pirate Bay or maybe Fire Hippo. So some of those particular softwares that you download in games, so they have some attached Trojan horses. They exploit the privileges of the user that runs that particular malware, and they can cause immediate damage. They provide remote access to the system or access through a backdoor. So probably now you're online, you think that you're in class, but maybe a Trojan is trying to send files to somebody else. So how are the Trojan horse classified? One of them is remote access Trojans, whereby they enable unauthorized remote access. Um, Somebody accesses your system without your knowledge. Data sending Trojan horse, they provide the threat actor with data such as your passwords. And that's why sometimes you should be very careful when maybe a software is trying to install itself in your machine automatically. Some of them, they monitor how you are typing your passwords, and then they send them to other people. We have destructive Trojans, which collapse and delete files. We have proxy Trojan, which will use the victim computer as a source device to launch attack and perform other illegal activities. So especially for you guys who would download softwares from these particular sites, okay, from maybe some of these sites, when you download those softwares, they act as proxy, whereby they now launch other attacks to other systems. So especially maybe when you download a software and like you are using maybe you're using some of these very common, I'm forgetting some of these very common applications that you normally use them to download softwares, and maybe you see your software is seeding all the time, seeding all the time. So it acts as now another like maybe server, so such that if somebody else want to maybe download that particular software or maybe get that particular code, will be directed to your machine. So that's why after you download your software, you remove it from that application, you now put it in your machine, so that your machine does not act as a proxy. So we also have the FTP Trojan horse, so enables an authorized file transfer service to an end device. Like right now, so most of the guys are using FTP to transfer files from the server. Like maybe our guys in our technical department, that is our IT department. So since they're at home and they need transfer files, maybe from one machine to the other, they're using FTP. So, and it's majorly used. So somebody can hijack that session and be able to get your username and maybe your password, and be able to transfer files to anywhere else they may wish. Security software disable a Trojan, so they stop antivirus program or file from functioning. So I don't know whether some of you have experienced this. Like today, I had one of the students. I was trying to set her machine but it had a problem. So when I checked, I realized that her antivirus was switched off. So and the antivirus could not work. So and why they do this? Some of these Trojan they do this so that they can automatically do anything they may wish. Maybe they can install a software in your machine, or maybe transfer any file from your machine without being detected. So you should be keep on checking. If you see your antivirus is switched off and you can't be able to switch it on, there's a Trojan, or maybe there's a virus in your system that is preventing your antivirus from running. And you should know how to solve these issues with some of your colleagues and some of the guys who you stay with. Denial of service, Trojan horse. So they store all hard network activity. So like maybe what we have said, whereby a lot of traffic is directed to a particular server, such that a particular server or maybe a particular network may not be able to respond to users. It's normally a denial of service, Trojan horse. So we have worms. I think I believe that we know the worms, they stick into the computer memory most of the times, and they execute arbitrary code and install itself in the memory of the infected device. And after installing itself in the memory, so they do what they replicate, and then they fill the whole memory, such that if you try to open a particular program, so you just find a message, no enough memory, and it's a very small program, and maybe probably don't have a lot of maybe program that you have installed in your system. So it's normally a worm, because worms, they normally stick themselves into the memory. So and basically a virus require a host program to run, and worms can run by themselves. Just know that worms can run by themselves. And these are the countries, initial code. So we had some of the countries which were affected, like maybe you can see here. So like the initial code which was launched, you can see how it was spreading. Like by now you can see the code red worm infection 19 hours later. So after 19 hours, after the code was launched, it was able to spread in all these countries. It is spreading like the virus, the COVID-19 virus, the way it's spreading. So it spreads like bushfire. So the worm components, so these are the various components of a worm, and we are not talking of this worm that you can see here, not a normal worm, yes, but it's most of the guys who normally invent things, we normally use our day-to-day things that we normally use. So here are the following components. One is enabling vulnerability, and the worm they install itself using an exploit mechanism such as an email attachment, an executable file, or a Trojan horse, or a vulnerable system. So that's why if you get an email and you do not know where it's coming from, don't even read it, especially if it has an attachment. And that attachment maybe sometimes is executable, especially in case it has got a zipped attachment. Since most of you cannot be able to send a software. By the way, the guys who like sending things on the network, you cannot send softwares on the network. So what guys they do, they normally zip those files, and then after zipping, they try to send them on the network. So, and then when you try to unzip now, so the virus now launches itself into your machine. Then the propagation mechanism. So after gaining access to a device, the worm replicates itself, and it can now locate a new target, especially in case you're on the network and you are sharing files with the people. So then the payload, any malicious code that results in some action in a payload, which is used to create a backdoor that allows a threat actor to access the infected host to create a denial of service. So now the attack now can now be launched to your system, and it can now allow maybe access of your devices through the backdoor. So ransomware, I think I don't know whether we heard about a ransomware that happened last year and the years before, whereby that ransomware could encrypt your entire machine. And after encrypting your entire machine, so you are supposed to pay. Like you can see the guy here who is paying. And for the guys who had done that, the hackers who had done that, so they had required you to pay electronically. So not using the bank, but you are supposed to pay using bitcoins. So you send some bitcoins, and then from there they decrypt back your files. So there was one that was happening, and that virus is still spreading, especially for the guys who are using old operating system like Windows XP and other old versions of operating systems. which you cannot be able to even to get you cannot be able to get patches to patch those particular operating system. So this malware, they deny access to the infected computer, as we have said. Like maybe they decrypt everything. So they use an encryption algorithm to encrypt the whole system, and you cannot be able to decrypt it. Email and malicious advertisement are vectors for ransomware campaigns. So there are major emails and malicious advertisement. They are vectors of ransomware campaigns. And sometimes you see there those emails being sent to you, like click here to get a reward, or maybe install this file to get a to do something maybe on your machine. So we also have social engineering, which is used by criminals who identify themselves as security technicians. They call home and persuade users to connect to a website that downloads the ransomware to users' computer. So we have guys who do that, whereby they call you that kindly connect to this particular site to get downloads, or maybe they send you emails. So we have guys who do that, and we have got modern malwares. So these are some of the modern malware that we have maybe of late. We have spyware. So the spyware, they are used to gather information about a user, and they send information to other entities without users' consent. It can be a system monitor, a Trojan horse, adware, tracking cookies, and keyloggers. So this one, they come in different they come in different categories, and sometimes we normally have them maybe in terms of maybe IoT devices. So, and when I talk of IoT devices, so IoT devices is anything that you can connect to your network, and they work together. Some of them are surveillance cameras, and some of these spywares, they infect your cameras. So sometimes you see your maybe camera coming on, or maybe on your laptop, or maybe any surveillance camera, and it can monitor all your activities. And after they monitor your activity, they send to the guy who wants to monitor you. So the hardware, they just they display annoying pop-ups to generate revenue to its author. So like I think right now, I think you're online, and some of you have been very much affected, whereby you see some pop-ups appearing, and when you click on them, some of them are adverts, and those adverts, the more you click on them, so guys are paid. So it's called pay-per-click, whereby if a particular advert is clicked so many times, so that guy earns some money. So they come as pop-up on most of our websites that we normally visit, and some of them, they may analyze users' interest by tracking the website visited, and they send pop-up advertisements to these particular sites. So we have scareware. So this one, they include scam softwares which uses social engineering to show calling induce anxieties by creating the perception of a threat. So some of these particular scareware. So maybe you find a very good, maybe a message is scaring you to do something. So that is popping up maybe on your system. So they generally direct unsuspecting users and attempt to persuade the users to infect a computer by taking action to address the bogus threat. So basically, these are just but people are scaring you. They try to tell you that you can use this code to hack a particular system to scare you. Phishing. Phishing is just but attempting to maybe to do something, like maybe for a case here is attempting to convince people to divulge sensitive information. So probably maybe there's an investigation going on somewhere, and maybe you try to ask somebody, can you provide me the following? Or maybe you, for an example here, they include receiving an email from bank asking users to divulge maybe the account and PIN numbers. Or probably somebody calls you and tells you that I'm calling from Safaricom, and I am updating your personal data. Kindly provide me your ID and probably your PIN number. So they are phishing. They would like you to provide you with their personal information, and then later they do what? They attack your system. And I think some of these companies, telecommunication companies that we subscribe to, they have been giving us a lot of information on how we can protect ourselves from maybe these phishing activities. So the rootkit, remember the rootkit is attacking your root, maybe like your drive C where your operating system is installed, the boot files and system files. So they install on a computer system, and after it is installed, it continues to hide its intrusion and provide privileged access to threat actors. And it happens in so many scenarios. So the common malware behavior, I think as we move on, so I would like to pause there for 1 minute. We continue. I've said that in our other practical activity, I think I've said you can go to this site that is, I don't know whether I had, which site I had told you to. Yes. So common vulnerability and exposures. So you can go to this site and be able to read much more about maybe the various common vulnerability and exposures which have been exposed. So I think this site I had already given you. So another site that I would like you to go and use is what we call hack this site. So for the guys who want to know how to do hacking, so I have not tested this site, but I know it's a legitimate site, since there was a course I was doing on cybersecurity, and this is one of the sites that we were given. So it's not a bad site. So I just know that I'm not posting anything for the purpose of posting. So you can use this site. Probably I can copy it, and you can try to hack this site. So this site is posted is a site where guy practice how to do hacking. So maybe you can do, there's a basic mission, there's realistic mission, application mission, programming mission. So depending on which area you want to do your hacking. So this is another site that you can go to and try to do the hacking. So let me just post it on here. So I'll come and read your comments just a minute, since I'm doing one thing. So this is one of the sites which I have referred you. So another site that you can be able to use is this site. Is this site. Let me go to home, the home to this particular site. So this site you can report. You can report a particular site or a particular fraud. Like maybe we have said that you can be able to do what we call reporting. So when you do reporting, so maybe an investigation can be done. So if maybe a particular maybe site is illegal, so you can do that. Like maybe you can see for a case, we had 81 million phishing sites blocked. So you can see. So 81 phishing. So remember what we have talked about phishing. So the sites that try to maybe gather information about people and maybe sell that information. 1.2 billion. So exposed, and there is a 25 years keeping network secure. So how do you use this site? Like maybe if you want to know a site, whether a site is genuine, so you will go to somewhere here. Let me just show you where we are, where it is. So I go back. So let me just go back, and I go back once more a bit. Yes, since you scroll down. So when you're here, you scroll down. When you scroll down somewhere here, using result from internet domain, find out the technology and infrastructure used by any site. Probably you would like to know much about a particular site. Like maybe I wanted to know about hack this site. So that's why. So probably I want to know about this site which I gave you. Hack this site. So you just copy that site, and then from there you search. And then when you search, it will be able to tell you much more about that particular site. So like maybe you can see the site title is Black Lives Matters. You can see these are guys who are also activists. Yeah, so it's an activist. So you're able to see that. So what does it say? Hack this site, and then maybe it's crafting this crate. So description: Black Lives Matters. Take action to end police misconduct. Okay, the slogan they have. And then this is a site name, netblock owner. So whoever owns that particular site, and domain is hackthisite.org, and name server is by this name. So this one is owned by a hackfist. So you can see even what they are posting here. So what we were discussing. So this one now enables you now to know much more information. You can see IP deletion. So there was some IP that were deleted from different countries. I think this one is from IP addresses that were deleted that were in use, and these are SSLs, TLS. Okay, this site, when I was preparing for this class at around 12:30, the site was offline. So probably there were some things that were happening. Maybe that I did not know. But generally, it's a site that you can use to do what you call trying to, if you want to learn on how to hack sites, you can go check. So this is one of the site. I think I can copy this for you so that you can come and go and practice. I don't know whether I have already copied. I think, oh, okay, screen not shared. Oh, apology. Okay, apology. I think I apologize for not reading what you guys are writing. Okay, I think I'm now sharing. So, and then that is a site which I was mentioning. So this is a site. Okay, I meant this site. So this site here, it's called Netcraft. So our site report netcraft.com. So this site I've said once more. I think since you guys have said you're not able to see it, you can be able to do it. So just click on out, you can put it out. Or maybe you don't want to do that issues. What you do, let me go back. So when you get at home, you can scroll down once here and maybe investigate a particular thing. Let's maybe check out maybe this photo. That site, and then I'll be able to know that much more information about that site. So the site is site title is ZTech University, so you're able to see, and site ranking, how it's ranked, description, there's no any description, and maybe what is there, network owner, how to Moodle. So remember we normally use a Moodle, and the domain, who owns that site. So this is the domain. Remember we have two sites, two domain under this. This is a subdomain of one of our domain, and name server, the IP address which is in use, just in case you want to know which IP address which is normally used. So instead of typing this address, you can type this DNS. So this is DNS IP version 4, reverse DNS. So this, so you can be able to know much more about a particular site. And in case you want to report fraud, you can click report fraud. Okay, that's one site. Another site I would like you to go and maybe research on National Vulnerability Database. So this one you can be able to search much more information. Let me go to home. Let me start from home of that site. So this is another site that you can go and read much more about national security standards and technologies in US. And you can search much more information on maybe the various investigations that were done. Like maybe here, let me just go to probably I'm not able to go back. So Ramzan major program. So you can just search about maybe the various things that have been researched in US, maybe the various vulnerabilities which have been caused by so many hackers around. So you can read much about it. You can read much about that information from here. So, and you can search what you may wish. So let's maybe like communication technology, which maybe what has been done, and you can read much more about what has been researched on, like maybe the use of drones, and maybe anything that you may wish about to know about maybe cybersecurity. So this site is also a very good site that you can use. I think the last site which I had told you to use is Common Vulnerability and Exposure, which is a site that you can be able to see the various vulnerabilities which have been reported around the globe and be able to maybe be able to know how they were solved. So that's it and done. I think I can post